Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 3, Chu Prefecture Lantern Festival. Chapter 97 241 The Fifth Stage of the Five Seas Realm, Perfection. 97th of Volume 3. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Li Wei took a detour and arrived at the noodle shop at the bridgehead. The broken stone bridge had been completely repaired. The shopkeeper refused the Xuanhuan coin Li Wei offered, smiling. Lord Jie has already sent someone to pay. He's him, I'm me. Li Wei placed the coin on the table and walked away without looking back. Wuxia Purple Haze Mountain, where the Shencang Evergreen Temple was located, was the tallest mountain outside East City's outer walls. Though not particularly high, it was renowned for the purple haze that rose from its slopes every morning at sunrise, creating a misty, ethereal scene reminiscent of an immortal's paradise. At noon, Li Wei led Shi and Bai Shu up the stone steps and into the temple, then effortlessly made his way to the Shencang Evergreen Temple's dining hall. The Shencang Evergreen Temple's vegetarian meals are legendary. They serve lunch promptly at noon, so you too absolutely must try them. Li Wei exchanged greetings with the two young Taoists working in the dining hall, who were quite friendly with him. You should have said so earlier. I love eating, and I've never had enough, Shi said, immediately ordering 10 vegetarian meals after sitting down. Bai Shu couldn't understand why Li Wei had brought them to this Taoist temple at such a crucial moment. Just as she was about to ask, Li Wei spoke first. Bai Shu, you're a great spiritual master of the Calamity Fire realm. Besides being proficient in talisman techniques, how are you with insect control? Bai Shu replied, I've studied it, but raising insects is incredibly expensive and exhausting. Fierce insects are difficult to tame, and rare insects are hard to find. So, I've only dabbled in it. Your psychic power is far stronger than mine. It should be enough. Let's eat first. After we finish, come with me somewhere. After finishing their vegetarian meal, Li Wei and Bai Shu walked into the stone tablet forest outside the dining hall. Meanwhile, Shi was still on his fourth serving. The stone tablet forest covered several acres. Some of the inscriptions on the tablets were carved by immortal realm great powers. However, the area was quite desolate, covered in fallen leaves. Many tablets lay toppled on the ground, far from their former glory 1,000 years ago. Reaching a section where 8 stone tablets were arranged in an 8 trigrams formation, Li Wei's fingertip ignited with a spiritual light flame. He began drawing complex formation glyphs on the tablet in the Qian position. He deliberately kept Bai Shu from seeing the glyphs. This was a secret of the Taoist sect of the Xuanhuan sect. Whoosh! The ground between the 8 tablets suddenly collapsed, forming a bottomless 8 trigrams well. The two of them plummeted downward. Bai Shu was terrified. She quickly summoned her spiritual light flame, forming spirit light wings on her back to slow her descent. Li Wei grabbed her wrist, using his movement technique to navigate the stone-lined well walls. He quickly reached the bottom. At the bottom of the well, they found yet another 8 trigrams formation of 8 stone stels. Li Wei walked to the Kun position stele and began to draw on it. Behind him, Bai Shu, fearing another sudden drop, quickly grabbed his hand. Master Li, can you please stop playing these dangerous games? Where are we even going? To find some helpers. As Li Wei spoke, a thunderous rumble echoed through the well. The stone wall behind the stele opened, revealing a stone door that extended downward. When he had lived at the Shencang Evergreen Temple with Yang Qingxi, Li Wei had explored this place alone. This was once a Taoist training ground of the Spirit Tablet Master during his youth. Using special formation glyphs, it could open a passage to a deeper level of the underground formation beneath Chu Prefecture City. At the time, Li Wei had considered this place a hiding spot and escape route in case strong enemies found the Shencang Evergreen Temple. After walking for a long time, the two finally reached the depths of the underground cavern. Before them lay a vast, pitch-black cavern space, over 100 feet high. Even with the spiritual light flame, they couldn't illuminate the far side. In the center of the cavern stood a towering 8 trigrams platform. Bai Shu was astonished. Did Zuo Ting tell you about this place? Where are these helpers you mentioned? Clap clap. Li Wei clapped his hands heavily and whistled. The cavern echoed with the sound. Suddenly, a rustling chorus of dense cries erupted from the darkness. Countless eyes opened, some glowing, others burning with flames. Bai Shu felt a chill shoot up her spine, her vision blackening, nearly fainting from sheer terror. The entire cavern teemed with fierce insects, each radiating hostility and a murderous aura, their ferocity unmatched. Even more fierce insects poured forth from cracks in the rock and hidden passages within the cavern. Don't be afraid, Li Wei said. A dispel rune is suspended above Chu Prefecture City, driving away all commander-grade strange insects from the underworld. These are just soldier-grade and general-grade fierce insects. He released 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors. Now 7 inches long, they radiated brilliant light as they flew in different directions, their sharp scream echoing through the cavern, intimidating all the fierce insects. Only commander-grade strange insects, comparable to Dao Seed Realm martial mystic cultivators, possess the initial ability to summon fierce insects and form insect armies. The 7-inch-long phoenix-winged moth emperors had already grown powerful enough. Coupled with their noble bloodlines, they were certainly not inferior to commander-grade strange insects. In particular, Big Phoenix, upon releasing its aura comparable to an immortal realm martial mystic cultivator, instantly suppressed all the fierce insects in the cavern, causing them to tremble and whine in fear. Even Bai Shu, upon suddenly sensing this aura, found her legs trembling and struggled to resist it. It felt as though she were facing a powerhouse on par with the eldest master himself. Gazing at the back of the Zhu Li clan's divine hidden one before her, her heart was deeply shaken. She realized that Li Wei was shrouded in mystery and the unknown. Bai Shu had long heard of the insect tamer's elevated status, that one could stand against 1,000 armies, defend an entire city, or even destroy a sect single-handedly. Today, she finally witnessed the reality of it all. Li Wei said, "The 7 rare insects I raise are barely under my control. But there are many Calamity Fire Realm great spiritual masters and skilled insect tamers in the city. I fear something might go wrong. I'll teach you a few insect scriptures characters. Engrave them onto those general-grade fierce insects. Time is short, do as much as you can." After imparting the insect scriptures, Li Wei ascended the 8 trigrams Dao platform at the center of the cave. He produced an azure yin banner and draped it over the platform, shielding his important secrets from Bai Shu. Next, he retrieved the immortal haze-tainted herbs needed for his breakthrough, along with the remaining Dao fruit. "Today, you must help me control the spiritual qi within my body and suppress its rejection. Otherwise, I'm finished, and you'll be finished too. Guardian wife, surely you'll protect me at this crucial moment, won't you?" Li Wei muttered to himself. Logically, he shouldn't be attempting to break through to the 5th stage of the 5 Seas realm right now. The spiritual qi in his 4th sea was still unstable and highly incompatible. Forcing a breakthrough would be extremely dangerous. The reason he dared to do so was because of his guardian wife. She couldn't appear openly, but she could secretly suppress the incompatibility of the newly added spiritual qi within his body, a task she could accomplish without anyone noticing. As for the hidden dangers caused by rushing the breakthrough, he'd have to deal with those after the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival. His lung lobes had long been fully reinforced. Li Wei swallowed the first immortal haze-tainted herb. The spatial power within the elixir erupted, causing immortal haze to surge wildly through his body and seep out through his pores. Simultaneously, he mobilized the spatial power of the Buddha's relic to aid in the creation of his lung lobes, innate world. Breaking through to the 5th Qi Sea was a forced endeavor, incredibly difficult. After swallowing 5 immortal haze-tainted herbs in rapid succession, his lung lobes shuddered violently, and the innate world was born. Next came the expansion of the innate world and the construction of the Qi Sea meridian. Time ticked by minute. With the assistance of the Buddha's relic's spatial power, the 5th Qi Sea expanded at an astonishing rate. After 2 hours, it reached 10,000 cubic meters. By the 3rd hour, it had grown to 15,000 cubic meters. The expansion rate slowed. In the 4th hour, it increased by another 2,000 cubic meters. Finally, Li Wei's 5th Qi Sea stabilized at around 18,000 cubic meters, more than twice the size of his 4th sea, which measured 8,000 cubic meters. This was comparable to the ancestral field of some 7th sea martial mystic cultivators. Time was running out. Li Wei retrieved his Dao fruit and asked Master Coffin to help him infuse it into his 5th Qi Sea. He had to reach the perfection of the 5th stage of the 5 Seas realm today. As for whether the spiritual qi in his body became chaotic or if his body rejected the Dao fruit, he left that entirely to his guardian wife. She knew tonight would be a tough battle, so he spent the entire afternoon eating in the mess hall. When evening arrived, he was still eating. All the young and old Taoists responsible for preparing the vegetarian meals were shocked, staring in disbelief at the towering stacks of bowls on the table. How can his stomach hold so much? He's eaten enough food for 100 people. Is he even human? Don't be ridiculous. Senior brother Li is a good friend of the first inheritor. Anyone he brings along is trustworthy. She finally seemed full. He glanced around, realizing it was already dark. He quickly wiped his mouth and asked, "What time is it?" A young woman in a white Taoist robe, sitting by the window near the stone tablet forest, replied calmly, "It's almost midnight, high hour. The temple bell will ring in an hour, opening the venue. The Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival is about to end." Suddenly, the ground trembled slightly. Boom. In the stone tablet forest, an 8 trigrams formation emerged, radiating a brilliant white light. The 8 trigrams well, 24 feet in diameter, opened with a resounding dragon's roar. Li Wei, stepping on a dragon shadow, and Bai Shu soared out from below, landing heavily on the ground and scattering fallen leaves. Shi, fearing he'd miss the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival, finally relaxed when he saw them return. He sprang to his feet like lightning. Li Wei shouted, "What time is it?" "Midnight, high hour." Shi replied. "Let's go. We can still catch the main event." Li Wei's spiritual qi surged, carrying him skyward. He landed on the blue-tiled roof of the Taoist temple, surveying the city's lights and gazing at the full moon in the sky. A long, melodious whistle escaped his lips. Rumble. From the 8 trigrams well, a dense swarm of fierce insects, led by 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors, poured out like a dark cloud. Their cries filled the air, flying, crawling, countless, and endless. Whoosh! Whoosh! Li Wei took the lead, leaping down Purple Haze Mountain and swiftly hopping across rooftops. The 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors soared through the air, leading 7 black torrents of insects that blotted out the sky. They followed closely behind him, ascending the inner city walls and racing along them toward South City, toward the battlefield. Shi stood atop a cloud of general-grade fierce insects, still reeling from shock. Did we make too much noise? Are we really taking on the entire city? Didn't those legendary insect tamers always fight alone? Bai Shu countered. Trailing behind them were the patrolling immortal envoys of the Calamity Crossing Temple, clad in white Taoist robes. Blank. End of chapter. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 3, Chu Prefecture Lantern Festival. Chapter 98 242 Snow Sword Tang Court's Defeat. 98th of Volume 3. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Boom. Under the cover of night, a silver-white 100-character scripture war chariot raced down a wide street capable of accommodating 10 chariots abreast. 7 spirit beasts, each several meters long, pulled the chariot, while over 500 scripture generals formed an impenetrable defense around it. Under relentless attacks from spiritual artifacts and talismanic runes, the scriptures gradually dimmed, until finally, the entire defensive force exploded with a thunderous roar. The war chariot shattered and overturned violently. Thump. Thump. The 7 heavily wounded Snow Sword Tang Court experts aboard tumbled to the ground, each covered in blood. They quickly rose, activated their spiritual artifacts, and scanned their surroundings warily. Tang Wancho was the most severely injured, her body riddled with bloody holes. The 5-foot-long sword in her hand was chipped and notched, serving as a makeshift cane to support her tottering frame. Within 2 days, she had been gravely wounded by Luansheng Linyu, Yin Suan, the Long Dian, and Qi Jin, 4 of the most formidable experts present. The various forms of spiritual qi that had penetrated her body were proving incredibly difficult to refine, wreaking havoc within her meridian traces. To have survived such relentless clashes with the 4 great experts was an unparalleled feat. Yet, their efforts at the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival had been utterly disastrous. The Snow Sword Tang Court's martial mystic cultivators had been routed, their scattered forces fleeing in all directions, leaving no hope of organizing a counterattack. Swish. Swish. Above, countless demon shadows with feathered wings flew past. Led by Yin Suan, the demon clan martial mystic cultivators from Yin Mountain either landed on the ground or hovered in midair, blocking the retreat of Tang Wancho and her 6 companions. The demon cultivators quickly formed a formation, completely sealing off the long street leading to the inner city gate. The 6 people surrounding Tang Wancho glared fiercely. One of them roared, "Yin Suan, do you know what you're doing? Yin Mountain will never be tolerated in the Northern Territory. The iron hooves of the Snow Sword Tang Court will trample you all into dust." As a disciple of the Demon King and the 4th-ranked inheritor-level expert in the Northern Territory First Class, Yin Suan paid no heed to the severely wounded Northern Territory experts. He sneered, "Tuo Babuchuo, how can you be so foolish? You still haven't grasped the true nature of the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival. The fact that I dared to strike means the world is about to change, and it will be a monumental shift." The Snow Sword Tang Court's defeat today was primarily due to the betrayal and ambush by the Demon Clan martial mystic cultivators from Yin Mountain. Tang Wancho secretly tried to regulate her breathing and gather her spiritual qi, but as soon as she activated her cultivation technique, she coughed up a mouthful of blood. A flurry of wind-breaking sounds filled the air as pursuers from the far western Ashlands faction surrounded the entire street. Even the rooftops lining the street were crowded with figures radiating fierce auras. Boom. Boom. Bloodied corpses were strewn across the street, landing around Tang Wancho and his 6 companions. These were martial mystic cultivators from the Snow Sword Tang Court who had scattered in their escape but were captured and executed on the spot. Qi Jin, holding his sword in one hand and with the other behind his back, emerged from the crowd of martial mystic cultivators with a graceful posture and a charming smile. "Miss Tang, where are you headed?" Tang Wancho's eyes blazed with killing intent. She sneered but remained silent, her gaze fixed on the corpse of Tang Chen, the 2nd successor of the Snow Sword Tang Court, lying on the ground. Her fingers clenched involuntarily. On the rooftop, a clear, cheerful laugh rang out. "They're probably trying to escape Chu Prefecture City. Thinking of escaping now is too late. Another voice added. Yin Xuan asked, shall we begin? Once we've dealt with them, we still need to hurry to the Bright Moon 7 Stars Pavilion. The Zuoqiu clan and the Imperial Court are still tough nuts to crack. The 7 survivors from the Snow Sword Tang Court tightened their defensive circle, standing back to back and scanning their enemies. Though their eyes remained resolute, a sense of tragic desperation hung in the air. Swish. On the city wall not far away, a figure sprinting at lightning speed suddenly stopped. Li Wei retreated, leaping onto the roof of a watchtower on the wall and shouting, Miss Tang, what's going on? Do you need help? This unexpected voice shattered the grim atmosphere of the street below. Tang Wancho had been utterly despondent, having already communicated with several others that even if they had to die, they would fight Yin Xuan, the traitor, to the death. Li Wei's sudden appearance filled her with immense joy. Brother Wei, how many people did you bring? Just me for now. Li Wei moved with incredible speed, leaving the swarm of insects far behind. He took advantage of this opportunity to wait for them to catch up. The martial mystic cultivators of the far western ashlands, who had been on high alert, couldn't help but burst into laughter. The laughter spread like wildfire, filling the air. Qi Jin had been searching for Li Wei for days, assuming he had already escaped the city. Now that he had revealed himself, Qi Jin wouldn't let him leave. He shot a glance at Yin Xuan. Yin Xuan stood at the foot of the city gate. Spiritual qi erupted from his body like an explosion, and a pair of metallic wings unfurled from his back. He soared into the air. His hands transformed into eagle claws covered in dense metal scales. With his renowned speed, he charged toward Li Wei for close-range combat. Meanwhile, 7 or 8 elite demon clan experts from Yin Mountain soared into the air, positioning themselves around Li Wei to block his escape routes. They unleashed their battle intent, activating various spiritual artifacts. Li Wei's body blurred, vanishing from their sight. Not good. As an inheritor-level cultivator, Yin Xuan sensed the danger instantly, but it was too late to react. Li Wei's palm had already pierced through his protective spiritual qi. Yin Xuan met the attack with his eagle claws, his battle armor erupting with the 100-character scripture. Boom. His claws clashed with Li Wei's palm strike. Yin Xuan felt the force behind the blow was like a mountain collapsing, an overwhelming pressure that rooted him to the spot. He plummeted toward the ground. His feet slammed into the bluestone street, shattering the flagstones beneath him. Cracks spread like spiderwebs across the surface. Only then did pain finally shoot through his claws and arms. Before he could circulate his spiritual qi to recover, a howling wind roared overhead. Looking up, Yin Xuan saw Li Wei's towering figure, divine light radiating from his feet. It coalesced into a spiritual qi jade cauldron, as if he were about to crush an ant beneath his heel. Yin Xuan's eyes widened in horror. He frantically channeled spiritual qi toward his legs, narrowly dodging the crushing blow. Simultaneously, he activated his ancestral field. Below his navel, the ancestral field glowed with bright light, its spatial ripples spreading outward in concentric circles. Whoosh! 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 300-character scripture artifacts, enveloped in spiritual qi, unleashed their terrifying power and soared toward Li Wei, who pursued him like a grim reaper. Li Wei's palms shimmered with spiritual qi. He continued his relentless pursuit, unleashing 3 consecutive palm strikes that sent the 100-character scripture artifacts flying. With a burst of speed, he launched a 4th palm strike. The palm strike erupted like a volcanic eruption, accompanied by a deafening roar. The air first boiled, then exploded. Boom. Yin Xuan had just summoned his battle intent and thrust out his claws when the palm strike sent him flying dozens of meters away. His protective battle armor shattered, and his body was enveloped in a blood mist as he crashed into the crowd of martial mystic cultivators in the far western ashlands. Unable to maintain his human form, he reverted to his true demonic beast form, a snow mountain silver-feathered eagle. His claws were bloodied, bones broken. After struggling several times, he couldn't stand. In just a few moves, he had been critically wounded. Boom. 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 The 7 or 8 Yin Mountain Demon Clan elites, riding their spiritual artifacts, furiously attacked Li Wei to prevent him from pursuing Yin Xuan. Li Wei, employing the clear void cicada chase technique, darted between the ground and the air several meters above. Screams echoed continuously as his attacks either pierced through chests, shattered bones, or tore apart wings. Blood sprayed, and feathers drifted down. The sound of bodies falling one after another filled the air. More than half of the Yin Mountain Demon Clan elites had already fallen, and the survivors lay critically wounded, sprawled in pools of blood. Li Wei, clad in a Taoist robe, drifted back to the ground like a fallen leaf. Despite the army surrounding the street, glaring at him with predatory eyes, he stood tall and imperious, his gaze radiating an aura of supreme dominance. The previous exchange had been lightning fast, lasting only a few breaths. Yet in that brief span, nearly the entire elite fighting force of Yin Mountain had been crippled, including an inheritor ranked 4th in the Northern Territory First Class. The entire arena fell silent, every spectator trembling in fear. Tang Wancho, the #1 martial mystic cultivator in the Northern Territory, repeatedly scanned Li Wei from head to toe, confirming again and again, "Brother Wei, have you been a peak expert in the Five Seas realm all along, pretending to be something else since last year?" The entire city of martial mystic cultivators had believed that only Zhe Shantong, Luansheng Linyu, and Zuoqiuhong were immune to the combined attacks of Five Seas realm martial mystic cultivators. Though Li Wei's spiritual chi purity was only at the 4th tier level, and his physical form wasn't a Dao body, it was clear his combat prowess still fell short of those 3 top-tier experts. Yet in Tang Wancho's discerning eyes, Li Wei already possessed the same aura of dominance. Wanyan Xiao's, who controlled a swarm of insects, blinked her beautiful eyes, gazing at Li Wei's handsome and peerless figure. Her heart fluttered with admiration and awe. She pleaded pitifully, "Brother Wei, you promised to save me once. Today, it's time for you to repay that debt." "I've always remembered your help that day, Sister Wanyan," Li Wei replied. Li Wei turned his gaze to Tang Wancho, his brow furrowing. "Miss Tang, how did you get yourself into this state?" "It's a long story, but to put it simply, we had a traitor within our ranks." "Sigh, it's embarrassing to even say it." "Cough. Brother Wei, could you possibly help us break through this encirclement? I would be eternally grateful." Tang Wancho clasped her hands in a respectful bow. Li Wei scanned the advancing enemies. "Since I'm here, of course I'll protect you. But the rules. I trust Miss Tang still remembers them." Tang Wancho forced a bitter smile and nodded resignedly. She instructed everyone to produce their invitation scrolls, gathered them into a stack, and presented them to Li Wei with both hands. "As it turns out," she said, "the true heroes of the world are actually in the south." The scene outside Diligent Garden back then was eerily similar to the situation tonight. Li Wei, forced into a corner, had been compelled to shout, "All the heroes of the world are now in the north." He had only been spared by presenting Kang Li and Yinju's invitation scrolls. Today, everything he had lost was fully restored. The martial mystic cultivators of the Snow Sword Tang Court felt a complex mix of emotions, utterly indescribable. Truly, this was a different time, a different era. Tang Wancho had no other choice. Wounded so severely, she had no chance of claiming any rewards from the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival. Her only goal now was to lead the remaining survivors out of Chu Prefecture City as quickly as possible. Li Wei examined the immortality pill tokens, dragon seed tickets, and dragon bone tickets inside, then stowed them all in his boundary pouch. He took them without a qualm. Tang Wancho had intervened in the first place only because she saw the Zhu Li tribe's potential usefulness and had made various demands, clearly intending to take advantage of the situation. "Li Wei, aren't you being a bit too confident? I'm still standing here. Do you really think you can take on 100 people alone?" Qi Jin smiled thinly, her eyes radiating a chilling malice and killing intent. Behind her, a dozen great spiritual masters ignited spirit light flames from their brows, activating a box-shaped ghostfire artifact that hung in midair, unleashing an army of dead spirits. On the other side, dozens of Five Seas realm martial mystic cultivators activated a book-like 4th grade 100-character scripture artifact. Clearly, Li Wei's earlier display of power had forced them to take him seriously. Even with their numerical advantage, they dared not let their guard down. Blank. End of chapter. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 3, Chu Prefecture Lantern Festival. Chapter 99 243 Qi Jin's Death. 99th of Volume 3. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. The moment Li Wei saw Qi Jin's face, which resembled Zhuang Yu's, a chill flashed in his eyes. When he saw the sword in Qi Jin's hand, that chill instantly transformed into killing intent. It was Zhang Ning's Jingyu sword. Tang Wancho whispered, "Be careful. She's Luansheng Lin Yu's top expert, her combat strength nearly matching Yu Zi's." Whoosh. Li Wei executed a swift footwork, his body moving like a wisp of green smoke as he charged forward. A 4-jong tall battle technique intent divine shadow rose behind him. Tang Wancho narrowed her eyes, he's broken through again. But he's only just reached the 6th sea. Moreover, the 4th level Qi he cultivates is fundamentally different from Qi Jin's 6th level Qi, a martial mystic cultivator from the Snow Sword Tang Court remarked, still skeptical of Li Wei's strength. Yin Xuan is already severely wounded. If he can just hold Qi Jin off, we'll have a chance to escape. Wanyan Xiao's commanded her insect swarm to attack the remaining Yin Mountain Demon clan martial mystic cultivators guarding the city gate. The other 5 martial mystic cultivators from the Snow Sword Tang Court followed closely behind. Tang Wancho, unlike the others, focused her gaze on the severely wounded Yin Xuan and raised her sword to attack. If she didn't kill this traitor, she would never be able to face the families and friends of the martial mystic cultivators who had died in battle. Boom. Whoosh. Whoosh. A 4th grade 100-character scripture artifact in the form of a book slammed down toward Li Wei, lifting every stone slab on the long street and shaking the defensive formations of the buildings lining the road to their breaking point. Standing on the city wall, the patrolling immortal envoy in a white Taoist robe made 2 swift strokes, freezing the protective formation in place. Li Wei moved with lightning speed, dodging the artifact's trajectory in a graceful curve. No matter how powerful the 4th grade 100-character scripture artifact was, if it couldn't lock onto him, its efforts were wasted. Qi Jin kept his eyes fixed on Li Wei's footsteps, watching him draw closer with each step. Whoosh! Leaping above Qi Jin's head, Li Wei drew the yellow dragon sword with a resounding clang. With a single downward slash, a river of sword qi poured down, cleaving through the dead spirit army with unstoppable force. The sword qi surged directly toward Qi Jin. The yellow dragon sword's sword qi seemed capable of dissolving all things. Any dead spirit that touched it instantly turned to ash. Qi Jin's qi surged outward, shattering the incoming sword qi. Divine Moon Eternal Illumination Mirror. Behind him, a heterodox battle technique intent rose, a scarlet divine moon, 5 meters in diameter, its light illuminating a city domain spanning dozens of miles, vying for brilliance with the moon in the sky. This radiant light drew the attention of the elder cultivators on Taoli Peach and Plum Mountain, who were anxiously watching the situation in South City. Their gasps of shock echoed across the mountain. The residents of the city at the foot of the mountain could hear an old man on the peak shouting, "Look southeast." Boom! Li Wei shot forward like a straight arrow, colliding with Qi Jin. As their swords clashed, spiritual qi erupted into a shockwave that spread outward. Fire exploded like a rain of embers. Qi Jin had already overestimated Li Wei to the maximum extent possible, but in that moment of actual combat, he finally understood the terror Yin Xuan had faced earlier. It wasn't that he was weak, his opponent had simply become incomprehensibly strong. 4th Levic Qi, a battle technique intent towering 4 zhong high, and a Dao body that hadn't even been successfully cultivated, how could he possibly be this powerful? Li Wei's sword strike sent Qi Jin flying back over a dozen zhong. The 3-5 realm martial mystic cultivators behind him were knocked away like straw dolls, their bones shattered, blood pouring from their 7 orifices. Cracks appeared in the skin of the arm holding Qi Jin's sword. Before she could regain her footing, Li Wei's 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strikes followed in rapid succession, each faster than the last. The sword's clang echoed like a dragon's roar, and within a 10 zhong radius, nothing but sword shadows remained. Qi Jin was completely overwhelmed, her skin covered in a dense network of cracks. Even a mere touch of the sword qi caused her excruciating pain. Divine Moon Mirror. Qi Jin let out a sharp, cold shout. A circular ancient mirror emerged from the cloud mist of spiritual qi behind her, radiating a dazzling light that blocked Li Wei's sword aimed at her forehead. Li Wei's left hand struck out a palm seal through the air, forming a golden coiled dragon divine seal that slammed heavily into her. Boom! The human skin covering Qi Jin's body exploded apart, sending her flying backward. Only her mangled face and long hair remained, revealing her true form as an ember spirit. She resembled a figure molded from charcoal embers, with glaring sparks of fire and demonic qi flickering within. Li Wei raised his sword and pursued her, determined to end the battle quickly. Blood mist and countless crimson scripture runes erupted from his blood handprint demonic armor. Then, with a single thrust, 100 swords flew forth. The Divine Moon Eternal Illumination Mirror battle technique intent materialized before Qi Jin. She frantically channeled her spiritual qi, gathering it in her hands and pouring it into the Divine Moon Mirror. Whoosh! The Divine Moon Mirror spun, merging with the 5-meter diameter battle technique intent. It replicated Li Wei's sword moves on its surface and then unleashed them back at him. 100 swords came at him. 100 swords returned. Swish swish. Li Wei's heart sank. He recalled the crimson scripture runes, imprinting them onto his skin to form a scripture demonic armor that deflected the returning sword qi. Back at the Bingju's lake, when Qi Jin was defeated by Zhang Ning's ghost banner, she had claimed she lost due to the artifact, as the Divine Moon Mirror wasn't with her at the time. Clearly, she believed that wielding the Divine Moon Mirror would give her combat power comparable to a Dao Seed Realm martial mystic cultivator. Li Wei sheathed his sword and relied on his blood handprint demonic armor, which covered his entire body, to meet Qi Jin's attacks head-on. His fists and palms struck with overwhelming demonic might, drawing on an inexhaustible supply of power. Boom! After shattering Qi Jin's Divine Moon Eternal Illumination Mirror battle technique intent with a single palm strike, 6 divine shadows of his 6 paths battle technique intent manifested behind him. Unleashing 150% of his full power, he slammed his head down and crashed his body directly into her. Bang! Qi Jin was sent flying backward, sparks erupting in all directions. Her body smashed through a workshop wall and crashed into the rubble. Li Wei landed swiftly, straddling her and raining down blows like a torrential storm. She managed to block only the first 3 strikes before being reduced to a screaming, howling mess. Finally, Li Wei's fist broke her neck, and the flames on her body flickered out. Li Wei grabbed the Ember Spirit's severed head and rolled aside to dodge the book-like 4th grade 100-character scripture artifact that came flying toward him. The attacks of the other martial mystic cultivators from the far western ashlands present were utterly unable to penetrate Qi Jin's blood handprint demonic armor. Only this weapon could harm him. Boom. The book shattered Qi Jin's headless corpse into ashes, leaving behind a massive crater. Li Wei used his spiritual qi to gather the divine moon mirror, the Jingyu sword, and the 4 invitation cards that had fallen from Qi Jin's clothes. His body flashed, leaping across rooftops as he swiftly killed several more people before returning to the city gate. He turned to look at Snow Sword Tang Court and his companions, who were still struggling to break free from the encirclement. Raising Qi Jin's severed head, Li Wei shouted, "Qi Jin has been slain by my hand. Why don't you leave your invitation cards and flee for your lives?" At these words, the martial mystic cultivators from the far western ashlands, who were still unaware of the situation, were stunned. Their expressions shifted dramatically as they exchanged uncertain glances. Tang Wancho and Yin Suan, locked in combat, paused. Both their eyes were filled with disbelief. Only they truly understood the magnitude of this feat. "Brother Wei, are you a demon incarnate or a celestial being cultivating in the mortal realm?" That was Qi Jin. Wanyan Shaoxi's voice was sweeter than words could describe, her admiration for Li Wei now beyond measure. There was nothing to be done. Even Tang Wancho at her peak might not have been able to kill Qi Jin. Tang Wancho was at the 7th Sea realm. Li Wei, however, was only in the 5 Seas realm, with vast room for improvement. The pitch-black city wall buzzed with the dense chirping and flapping of insects, drawing the attention of everyone on the street below. Shi, Bai Shu, and the 7 fierce insect torrents summoned by the 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors had finally arrived and converged here. Shi shouted, "Brother Wei, are we still fighting? They might still have invitation cards on them. If you get one, it's yours. You have half an hour." Li Wei leapt down, killed Yin Suan, and collected her invitation card and 300-character scripture artifacts. Then he turned to Tang Wancho and asked, "What's really going on? Yin Mountain is in the northern territory. Why would they suddenly rebel? Can the demon king of Yin Mountain withstand the wrath of the entire northern territory? Or is it planning to move the 8,000-mile-long Yin Mountain range?" Shi let out an excited screech and, along with Bai Shu and the 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors, led the insect swarm in a charge against the fleeing martial mystic cultivators of the far western ashlands. The 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors were naturally after the money pouches and cosmic pouches. These pouches represented precious medicines and millennium essence herbs. Tang Wancho watched the scene before her, gazing at the endless river of insects stretching into the distance, her heart completely humbled. She leaned on her sword for support. "Wei Yi, the world is about to undergo a massive upheaval. I've suddenly realized that the Calamity Crossing Temple might actually be supporting the forces behind Luan Sheng Linyu, provided he wins the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival. The Dragon Sect has already thrown its support behind him, and the major demon races undoubtedly have as well. Both Zhuao Hong and I made a misjudgment. Our vision was still too narrow, confined by the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival. We failed to see the bigger picture. I believe the old fogies on Taoli Peach and Plum Mountain are only realizing this now as well." The heartless golden ape of Heavenly Cliff Ridge's surrender to Zhuao Hong was likely part of Luan Sheng Linyu's scheme, along with the ember spirits and dead embers he had already planted among the martial mystic cultivators of the Southern Territory. The Zhuao sect and the Imperial Court are sure to follow in the footsteps of the Snow Sword Tang Court. Tang Wancho suddenly grabbed Li Wei's shoulder, her eyes filled with fervent hope. "Wei Yi, stop him. If anyone in Chu Prefecture City can stop Luan Sheng Linyu, it's probably you. Do you understand what I just said? If Luan Sheng Linyu wins, many people will die. Many people. I'll do my best." Li Wei soared onto the city wall, whistling to summon the 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors. Time was of the essence. He had to rush to the most crucial place immediately. Shi and Bai Shu followed the insect swarm back. "So urgent. I haven't even found a single ticket." Shi fretted, watching the fleeing 5 Seas realm martial mystic cultivators. "The situation is worse than I thought. I need to get to the Bright Moon 7 Stars Pavilion first. You lead the insect swarm and follow me as quickly as possible." With that, Li Wei darted away, his gaze fixed on the towering Taoli Peach and Plum Mountain at the city's center. He distinctly heard an elderly voice urgently shout, "Hurry." That single word, "hurry," contained countless unspoken warnings. Dragging their injured bodies, the 7 members of the Snow Sword Tang Court stumbled out of the outer city gate, only to be confronted by a magnificent jade carriage pulled by 5 snow dragon. Its imposing presence struck fear into their hearts. This was once the personal carriage of the ancient heavenly emperor. The small world where the jade carriage resided was engulfed in a blizzard, completely isolated from the clear, moonlit sky. Tang Wancho knelt on one knee, gritting her teeth. "Sister, I've failed. I've lost all the 5 Seas realm martial mystic cultivators of the Snow Sword Tang Court. From within the carriage, a young woman's voice rang out. The Snowsword Tank Court has only lost in the Five Seas realm. In a moment of crisis, you dared to raise your sword against Xuanhuan. That earns you a passing grade in my eyes. Get in the carriage and come with me back to the city. Tang Wancho was stunned. Returning to the city now is too dangerous. Since you've already left the city, you're already out of the competition. Ride with me, and who would dare harm you? The jade carriage slowly approached the city gate. Tang Wanzhou's voice, calm and steady, echoed from within the carriage. I came here to see just how much weight the so-called young celestial emperors truly carry. Blank. End of chapter. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 3. Chu Prefecture Lantern Festival. Chapter 100-244 The Desire to Establish a Demon Kingdom. 100th of Volume 3. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. A bright moon hung high in the sky, draping mountains and seas in silver gauze, its light enduring through the ages. The night was thick, covering heaven and earth in a black curtain, concealing all evil in its shadows. Clouds raced across the horizon like galloping horses. Zuoqiu Hongting, wearing a wooden mask and a green Taoist robe that accentuated her slender waist, her bearing extraordinary, flashed to the top of a watchtower on the inner city wall of South City. Behind her lay the broad central avenue of the outer city, stretching dozens of meters wide, leading straight to Bingju's lake on the coast. From there, one could see the brightly lit Bright Moon Seven Stars Pavilion, shimmering like a constellation on the sea. Facing the inner city, the towering Taoli Peach and Plum Mountain, reaching straight to the heavens like a celestial pillar, stood eternally at the edge of her vision. Below the watchtower, from the attendant hall in the inner city to Bingju's lake in the outer city, the entire north-south heaven and earth avenue was filled with deafening cries of battle. Spiritual chi clashed in dazzling displays of light, and blood stained the ground for miles. Each inheritor fought within their own isolated battlefield. What a lantern festival, a night painted crimson with blood. The naked corpses hanging from the inner city gate had long been cut down by Kang Li and Li Ling, crashing to the ground. In the plaza before the gate, a 10-foot-tall bronze cauldron still bubbled with boiling water, stewing flesh and blood. The gruesome scene within the cauldron was enough to make countless human martial mystic cultivators retch. Swish. Luansheng Linyu appeared on the city wall, his face cold and handsome, his eyes bright and eerily captivating, his silver-white hair swaying gently. He murmured, I thought you would flee the city with the remnants of the Zuoqiu clan, the Zhuli tribe, and the Zhu clan, clinging to life. But you couldn't bear to give up. You've killed even more people. Zuoqiu Hongting remained unmoved by his words. In this chaotic world, where can we run? If we don't fight today, our clan, our province, will die tomorrow. You're severely wounded, your combat strength has greatly diminished. This so-called fight is nothing but a desperate attempt at suicide, Luansheng Linyu pointed out her weakness. Zuoqiu Hongting's gaze remained unwavering. If I seek death, what price will you pay? Luansheng Linyu stopped 100 yards from the city tower, sitting on a crenel. He gazed at the distant sea and the bright moon, speaking calmly. 100,000 lanterns have been lit, creating a dazzling sea of stars in the water. Soon, the immortal turtle will arrive bearing the dragon palace, the venue will open, and the lantern festival will truly begin. It's a pity that this festive atmosphere belongs only to the far western Ashlands and our allies. Just like the Lingxiao realm, which will soon establish a glorious and prosperous demon kingdom, its territory will far surpass the current 28 provinces. The Ashen region and the provinces swallowed by the Nether realm of the dead 8,000 years ago will all be included. At the founding ceremony, all allies will be rewarded according to their merits. The demon clan, ember spirits, dead spirits, humans. All will celebrate together. Zuoqiu Hongting said, unfortunately, humans will have a low status in the demon kingdom, treated as livestock and food, to be slaughtered and cooked at will. I doubt many human martial mystic cultivators will support its establishment. Roar. A dragon's roar echoed through the night sky. Long Dian, stepping on the battle intent of the Azure Dragon battle technique intent, ascended the city walls through the mist. His 12,000 Jin bronze battle spear struck the ground of the rampart with a heavy blow, causing 700 scriptures inscribed on the spear to flash. The entire city wall shuddered violently. Young Venerable, Tang Wancho was caught off guard by the demon clan martial mystic cultivators of Yin Mountain, and the Snow Sword Tank Court has been routed. Qi Jin has led troops to pursue them and will surely bring back all the immortality pill tokens, dragon seed tickets, and dragon bone tickets. Long Dian, one of the three immortals, known as the Banished Immortal, possessed a face of unparalleled masculine beauty. His golden armor accentuated his tall and sturdy physique. He continued, Zuoqiu Hong's remaining combat strength is likely less than 70%. How about I take over? Very well. After tonight, the titles of East Dragon, West Pig, South Tiger, and North Sword will likely need to be revised, Luansheng Linyu said. Long Dian remained calm. The top experts in the Five Seas realm change every few years. I've never paid much attention to such titles. The true game of the strongest in the mortal realm is the decades-long struggle in the Dao Seed realm, where the top experts from the past 10 generations of the Five Seas realm gather. That's when they truly enter the Hall of Power. As for those immortals who have withdrawn from mortal conflicts, that's another world entirely. With the Dragon Bone, Dragon Seed, and Immortal Pill, you and I will surely conquer every peak of mortal martial mystic cultivation within a few years. Luansheng Linyu's gaze swept over the chaotic battlefield below the city walls. His figure flickered, transforming into a graceful silver arc as he headed toward the bright Moon 7 Stars Pavilion, intending to eliminate Zhe Shantong and Zhuoqiu Hong's remaining forces first. A flicker of surprise finally crossed Zhuoqiu Hongting's calm eyes. She stepped onto the peach and plum blossoms fill the world, rain, her figure floating through the air like a fleeting shadow as she pursued him. Zhuoqiu Hong, your opponent is me. Long Dian's golden armor blazed like a scorching sun. His spiritual chi surged with overwhelming power, his speed increasing dramatically as he collided head-on with the rain-filled sky, intercepting Zhuoqiu Hongting. On the sea, the bright Moon 7 Stars Pavilion was festooned with bright lanterns. On either side of the grand staircase stood rows of figures clad in white robes, each bearing a longsword on their back. These were the Five Seas realm martial mystic cultivators trained by Thousand Mile Mountain. Both the Immortal Grove and the Heavenly Pavilion were subsidiaries of Thousand Mile Mountain. Thousand Mile Mountain earned its name by recruiting only 1 in 1,000 talents. As merchants, they had no desire to get involved in the power struggles of the world, and they sought to offend no one. They had helped the Zhuoqiu clan conceal hidden sect martial mystic cultivators because they believed Zhuoqiu Hong might be a hidden dragon, and they wanted to invest early. Now, it seemed Luansheng Linyu might be a better investment. Just 3 miles from the bright Moon 7 Stars Pavilion, Zhe Shantong was trapped within a formation constructed from an ashen region, facing off alone against 5 dead spirit powerhouses from the nether realm of the dead. Each of these creatures had a beast's head and wore blood-soaked robes. They had developed sentience and were the nether realm's heavenly prides from a certain domain. At the edge of the ashen region stood thousands of spirit tablets, shrouded in ghost shadows controlled by Ming Niansheng. The 28 great spiritual masters presiding over the formation were handpicked by Luansheng Linyu from various forces under his command, specifically to serve as a formidable challenge for Zhe Shantong. The main conductor of the formation was Tantai Jing, ranked 3rd in the Eastern Territory's first tier, hailing from Wai Island. Wai Island, one of the 3 island barbarians of the Eastern Territory, had already submitted to the Dragon Sect and been incorporated into Luansheng Linyu's forces. Luansheng Linyu's original direct lineage troops, including the Quanrong and K clan elites from the Western Territory whom he had placed great hopes in, had been nearly annihilated by the Imperial Court and the Zhuoqiu clan. This forced him to resort to employing the Eastern barbarians. With the final moment approaching, everyone revealed their trump cards and hidden reserves. Many forces that had previously remained neutral or had no intention of participating in the struggle for dominance now joined the fray as allies. Luansheng Linyu's victory seemed all but assured. His backing was too vast, his plans too long in the making. With the support of the Calamity Crossing Temple, the establishment of a demon kingdom might truly become an unstoppable trend. Who wouldn't want to pledge their allegiance in advance? On Taolik Peach and Plum Mountain, as the old generation powerhouses of the major powers witnessed Luansheng Linyu's trump cards and hidden schemes gradually revealed, they realized the situation had taken a turn for the worse. Some rushed back to the Northern Territory, while others hurried to the Eastern and Western Territories. They all suspected that the demon calamity sweeping across the world might have erupted simultaneously. Their only hope now was that the Calamity Crossing Temple wouldn't side with the power behind Luansheng Linyu. If that happened, the human cultivators of the Lingxiao realm would still have a chance to resist. In the third heaven, the elders of the Zhuoqiu clan stared blankly at the Shencang Evergreen Temple, then at the swarming insects on the inner city walls, utterly bewildered. How does the Shencang Evergreen Temple connect to the underground? What's the deal with that 8 trigrams well? You Taoist sects have been hiding some deep secrets. Hong Ting must have told him the Shencang Evergreen Temple's secrets. Forget about the Shencang Evergreen Temple for now. The situation is already catastrophic. Let's just hope that young Li can arrive in time to turn the tide. The emergence of 7 Lord Marquis grade larvae, summoning the insect swarm, is truly a stroke of heaven's favor. Zhuoqiu Ling glared at the hidden lord, his spiritual chi conveying his thoughts. I'm certain Hong Ting knows nothing about the Shencang Evergreen Temple's secrets. Just who is that kid? The hidden lord's emotions were mixed. He was pleased that at this critical moment, Li Weiyi's cultivation had advanced further, allowing him to slay 2 inheritor-level experts and summon the insect swarm. This would undoubtedly rekindle hope on a battlefield teetering on the brink of despair. If Li Weiyi truly managed to turn the tide tonight, the Imperial Court and the Thundercloud sect wouldn't be able to move against him so easily. At least on the surface, they'd have to consider the repercussions. Given the current crisis in the Lingxiao realm, they likely wouldn't have the energy to do so anyway. But his worries were far more numerous. Could Li Wei really turn the tide? As for the Chengqing Evergreen Temple's secrets, the Hidden Lord suspected they were connected to the Zhu Li tribe's matriarch, the leader's wife. 1,000 years ago, the Hidden Lord said, a transcendent founding ancestor from the Taoist branch of the Zhuoqiu clan married into the Zhu Li tribe. It's perfectly normal for the Zhu Li tribe to know something you don't. The ninth heaven of Taoli Peach and Plum Mountain existed in the void above the Dispel Rune. Transcendent beings gathered there, unlike any martial mystic cultivators of the mortal realm. They resembled immortals and gods discussing the Tao. The second palace master of Lingxiao Palace's imperial carriage was as vast as a palace hall, resplendent with gold and jade, like a heavenly palace suspended above the sea of clouds. Scriptures swirled around it like stars in the night sky. Her voice drifted out, truly marvelous. For 10 years, you fought each other to the point of chaos, completely forgetting the dangers from beyond. Only the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival finally awakened the world's rebels. Are you still going to fight? Will you continue your campaign? Until the Grand Palace Master issues a decree of self-reproach and rescinds the Shoutian Edict, we must fight on for the sake of the people of the world. We will break through Lingxiao City and reach the gates of Lingxiao Palace to demand she admit her mistakes, declared a transcendent from the Northern Territory, seated in meditation amidst the clouds, a miniature world swirling around him. The voice from the imperial carriage replied, by what right do you presume to judge the Grand Palace Master? The 28 provinces of Lingxiao rest on her shoulders, not yours. You have no authority to speak of the people of the world. The Grand Palace Master's calamity, her danger, her terror, surpasses even that of the demon clan. As long as she lives, we will live in constant fear. As long as she lives, more human factions will defect to the demon clan, and the righteous army will never abandon its goal of raising Lingxiao City. There can be no compromise, another transcendent voice echoed through the void. Inside the imperial carriage, a voice sneered, stir it up, stir it up. Keep stirring until the Lingxiao realm becomes a demon kingdom. Then we'll all die together. A refined-looking elder in Confucian robes sat beneath an ancient peach tree as thick as a millstone, alongside the Calamity Crossing Temple Immortal Master. His eyes narrowed slightly. It seems the Calamity Crossing Temple actually favors the demon clan. Hosting the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival to lure the old fogies to Chu Prefecture City, isn't that just making it easier for the far western Ashlands to succeed? The Calamity Crossing Temple Immortal Master forced a bitter smile. As a human, of course I want the Calamity Crossing Temple to support the Zhuoqiu clan. But the temple's rules are greater than any individual's will. Let me ask you, even without the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival, wouldn't the far western Ashlands still intervene in the Zhuoqiu clan's struggle for dominance? Wouldn't the Nether Realm of the Dead still try to exploit the chaos? All the variables and hidden forces at play during the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival, everything that would have unfolded in the struggle for dominance anyway, will still unfold. By staging this rehearsal in advance, haven't you gained a head start in preparing for it? So, it's perfectly fair. In my opinion, the elder scoffed, his gaze fixed on the battle unfolding in Chu Prefecture City as if studying a battlefield sand table. The Calamity Crossing Temple simply believes that choosing the far western Ashlands will bring the chaos in the Lingxiao realm to a quicker end. Humph. Blank. End of chapter. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 3, Chu Prefecture Lantern Festival. Chapter 101 245 Beneath the City Gate. 101st of Volume 3. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. The Calamity Crossing Temple Immortal Master said, the Calamity Crossing Temple will naturally uphold its promise and support the Hidden Dragon. As I said before, the rules are set in stone and apply fairly to everyone. We must carefully assess the forces we support, examine the level of the next generation, determine whether they can shoulder the responsibilities of leadership, and ascertain whether they possess extraordinary intellect. We must never repeat the mistake of Zhenhai Guanwu, who raised a terrifying madman whose actions led to the deaths of countless innocent lives. Very well, we shall wait and see. The Confucian-robed elder raised his head, gazing across the sea of clouds. The sky was ablaze with 10,000 miles of crimson clouds, and demonic shadows swarmed like locusts. A phoenix nest, resembling a celestial body, floated beneath the moon, radiating a breathtaking aura. Below, the tiny figure moving at lightning speed within the city finally reached the battlefield, like a moth drawn to a flame. Countless veteran experts turned their gazes toward South City. Could someone truly wield such power, like a mere 4 ounces deflecting 10,000 pounds, and reshape the course of the world? Clang, clang, clang. A squad of black armored knights charged out from the alleyway. Each knight wore a mask embroidered with a white rice stalk pattern on their face covering. They trampled and crushed the Imperial Court's 5 Seas realm martial mystic cultivators, sending them flying. Zhang Ning, exhausted after 3 days of relentless fighting, had depleted her spiritual qi. Her governor's robe was soaked in blood, her long hair disheveled. She leaned on her battle halberd to support her faltering body. Her eyes, sharp as a hawk's, pierced through the smoke and flames, fixing on the approaching tide of black armored knights. The surviving imperial martial mystic cultivators gathered around her. It's those heretical cult members who lurk in the shadows. Why are they involved now? Yin Shisan's hands trembled with exhaustion. He desperately wanted to flee, but Zhang Ning refused to leave. Kang Li shielded Li Ling, whose leg had been broken, and retreated continuously. With each clash against the heartless golden ape, blood spilled from his mouth, worsening his injuries. Demon cultivators from Heavenly Cliff Ridge surrounded them, their eyes gleaming with predatory hunger, waiting for them to fall so they could feast on their flesh. The scattered martial mystic cultivators of the Zuaokyu sect, Zhuli clan, Zhu sect, and Imperial Court, along with the Snow Sword Tank Court, slowly retreated toward the Bingju's lake. They just needed to hold out until the temple bell rang, until the Dragon Palace appeared. Once they entered the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival venue, the killing would stop, and they could keep their invitation cards. Perhaps. The Crossing Calamity Temple would witness their struggle and indomitable spirit. Swish. Li Wei, with 2 swords strapped to his back, arrived like a bolt of lightning. He leapt onto the rooftop where Zuaokyu Hongting had stood earlier, unable to believe the carnage before his eyes. Moonlight illuminated a battlefield strewn with corpses. The stench of blood filled the air. Streets within and outside the city walls were littered with fallen bodies. Even some Spring Surge Realm martial mystic cultivators had joined the fray. Fighting raged in the sky and on the ground. Li Wei retrieved his black iron seal and infused it with spiritual qi. Boom. Thunder echoed throughout the city domain, drawing the attention of countless martial mystic cultivators. The steps of the Bright Moon 7 Stars Pavilion were stained crimson with blood. Yinshi and the Zuaokyu sect martial mystic cultivators were being driven back by Luan Sheng Linyu, eventually scattering in disarray. The martial mystic cultivators of Thousand Mile Mountain stood impassively on either side of the steps, watching the chaos unfold. Hearing the thunder, Luan Sheng Linyu looked up, expecting the thundercloud sect to finally intervene. But instead, he saw a figure atop a distant watchtower that he never could have imagined. How could it be him? Clatter. Boom. Li Wei slammed onto the ground, the black iron seal in his hand unleashing a dozen blinding purple bolts of thunder and lightning that snaked along the street, sending the group of black armored knights wearing rice stalk masks flying and their horses neighing in terror. The 100-meter-long street was nearly cleared in a single strike. Some of the black armored knights were pierced by the thunder and lightning, falling to the ground dead. Dust and debris swirled through the air, whipped by a fierce wind. Worm-like currents of lightning snaked toward the feet of Zhang Ning, Yin Shisan, Yang Qingshi, and the other imperial martial mystic cultivators before dissipating. Too powerful. It was the domineering aura of a single person sweeping through 1,000 troops. It's the divine hidden one. Yin Shisan, recognizing the newcomer, was so overwhelmed with excitement that he forgot his identity and nearly shouted the words, "Divine hidden one." He really has appeared. Yang Qingshi, sword in hand, gazed at the black armored knights writhing in agony on the ground. Her gaze finally settled on the figure standing beneath the city gate, and her heart surged with emotion, her beautiful eyes shining brightly. Li Wei glanced deeply at Zhang Ning, confirming it was indeed her gaze. Taking 2 steps back, he turned and charged toward the outer city, leaving behind a resolute figure. That single strike had consumed a vast amount of energy. He put away the black iron seal, breathing deeply to replenish the spiritual qi in his qi si. Exiting the city gate, he swiftly made his way to the spot where he had previously observed Kang Li and Li Ling being besieged. His gaze fell upon the towering bronze cauldron in the plaza, and his expression darkened. Spiritual qi surged through his meridian veins, flowing toward his arms. Boom. He struck out with a palm, the sound echoing like a divine bell. The bronze cauldron, weighing tens of thousands of pounds and filled with boiling water, soared toward the demon cultivators of Heavenly Cliff Ridge. Cries of agony filled the air as several demon cultivators were instantly crushed or sent flying. The heartless golden ape, its massive frame resembling molten gold, sensed the danger. Abandoning its attack on Kang Li, it charged toward Li Wei, each step covering a full 10 feet, its golden aura intensifying with each stride. Clenching its fist, the golden ring on its wrist released hundreds of scriptures. Boom. Li Wei stood firm, his palm striking out. The size difference between the two was more than tenfold. The heartless golden ape possessed immense physical strength, its body nearly forged into a Dao body. Yet, after trading a blow with Li Wei, who stood rooted in place to receive the attack, the ape was actually driven back. Boom. Boom. With each step back, the ground beneath the heartless golden ape shattered into a vast expanse of rubble. Finally, its back slammed against the city wall with a resounding crash. That tiny human frame contained a power of terrifying magnitude. In the next instant, Li Wei seized the ape's wrist and sent the entire creature flying through the air. A kick to its chest followed, a fleeting jade cauldron shadow flashing across the sole of his foot. Boom. The heartless golden ape, a golden mountain in miniature, was sent hurtling 100 meters away, scattering martial mystic cultivators across the street. Protected by armor, it hadn't suffered serious injuries. It immediately rose to its feet, its four arms flailing as it let out a deafening roar at Li Wei, the sound transforming into a hurricane. Kang Li stared at Li Wei in the center of the square, sensing a hint of the aura possessed only by powerhouses like Luan Shenglin Yu. He burst into laughter, then winced as his injuries flared up, groaning softly and trembling as he sank to the ground. Clang! Clang! Li Wei stood beneath the city gate, drawing his twin swords. In his left hand, he held Yellow Dragon, in his right, Jingyu sword. His eyes locked with the distant heartless golden apes, his heroic bearing as unyielding as an unshakable divine peak. Whoosh! Jingyu sword slashed out. Sword chi transformed into 10,000 feathers, sweeping across the demon cultivators of Heavenly Cliff Ridge, leaving blood flowing like waterfalls. Roar! Watching the enraged heartless golden ape charge toward him, Li Wei stepped onto Yellow Dragon, executing the Yellow Dragon ascending to heaven technique. He leapt off the street and charged toward Long Dian and Xuanhuan Hongting, who were locked in a fierce battle above a cluster of palaces. The heartless golden ape pursued him relentlessly. Xuanhuan Hongting had spotted him from afar. Her eyes, hidden behind her wooden mask, flickered with disbelief. As Li Wei drew closer to Long Dian, the first battle technique intent divine shadow rose behind him at 20 yards. Then came the second, the third. By the time he was only 10 yards away, all 6 battle technique intents had fully manifested. Long Dian, with his keen eye, immediately recognized the formidable nature of the newcomer. He raised his arm, channeling his chi to unleash a palm strike that warped space. Simultaneously, a 5-yard-long Azure Dragon battle technique intent, accompanying the palm strike, snaked toward Li Wei. Roar! As Li Wei swung his sword, a deafening dragon's roar erupted, coalescing into a yellow dragon that crashed through the Azure Dragon with unstoppable force. After the yellow dragon's shadow repelled Long Dian, the Jingyu sword and Li Wei's true form appeared above Long Dian's head in the next instant. Long Dian inhaled deeply, his tiger-like eyes blazing. He swung his bronze battle spear, unleashing a torrent of dense scriptures that collided with the Jingyu sword. Boom! The scriptures exploded outward in a ripple of spiritual chi. Xuanhuan Hongting lunged forward, her finger force piercing Long Dian's protective spiritual chi, denting his golden armor slightly. The finger force penetrated the armor, striking his true form and sending him flying backward. How should we fight? She asked. Together, with everything we've got, Li Wei replied. The three, Li Wei, Xuanhuan Hongting, and Long Dian, descended into a chaotic melee, their spiritual chi and scriptures swirling into a dense, swirling cloud. From time to time, they would strike out with a sword or palm strike toward the heartless golden ape. Martial mystic cultivators of the inheritor level simply couldn't penetrate their battle circle. Despite having never fought together before, their coordination was flawless, as if their minds were linked. After a dozen moves, Long Dian was driven to the point of no escape. He took a sword strike from Li Wei and a palm strike from Xuanhuan Hongting, his crown falling off, blood spurting from his mouth, and his hair disheveled as he crashed heavily onto the street. His golden armor was shattered, and blood streamed from his chest and abdomen. Just then, Yin Shi, already severely wounded, was pursued to this spot by Luan Shenglin Yu. Xuanhuan Hongting's Taoist robe turned blood red as she stood on the eaves of a building on the left side of Heaven and Earth Avenue, holding a Taoist ruler. The second battle technique intent, the 8 trigram seal of life and death, hovered above her head. Her gaze shifted from Long Dian to Luan Shenglin Yu. Li Wei flashed onto the wall of a shop on the right side of Heaven and Earth Avenue, removed the cloth bag hanging from his waist, and tossed it onto the street. Boom! The bag landed with a thud, and the severed head of an ember spirit rolled out. Luan Shenglin Yu, you're next. Li Wei spoke with confidence, for he had already seen the shadows of 7 swarms of insect-like creatures on the city walls. The martial mystic cultivators in the vicinity had all stopped fighting, their eyes fixed on the center of the conflict, where the chi was most intense. Yin Shi was both excited and terrified. As an ordinary inheritor-level martial mystic cultivator caught in the battle technique intent field of 4 top experts, he was naturally panicked. Your rise has been truly swift, exceeding even my expectations. Luan Shenglin Yu stood with his hands clasped behind his back, glancing at Qi Jin's severed head on the ground. His usually calm eyes now flickered with coldness, and spiritual chi spread from his feet like a dense fog. Whoosh! Behind him, the battle technique intents of the Azure Phoenix and Qilin materialized. The former spread its wings and screamed out, while the latter raised its hoof and roared. Brother Wei, we're here. Shi roared, leading Baishu and 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors, along with 7 fierce insect torrents, as they flew over the heads of Kang Li, Li Ling, Zhang Ning, Yang Qingxi, Yin Shi San, Zhuang Yu, and other martial mystic cultivators gathered at the city gate, sweeping toward the straight heaven and earth avenue. Qi Xiao, still clutching his saber, rose from the pile of corpses. He looked up, his eyes widening in shock, and he couldn't help but curse under his breath, but his words were drowned out by the buzzing of insects. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel.